Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather-wise. Today is February 16th, and right now we are looking at the surface pressure map with precipitation overlaid onto it here. And we're going to take a look at what's coming up here because it looks like we're going to start to turn stormy again here across California as we go on in through next week. So taking a look at what's going on now, you can see this system kind of diving down off our coastline. Quite the tease here as it stays mostly offshore. Doesn't bring much precipitation to the state whatsoever here as we go on in through Monday. But you'll see changes starting to occur here as we got this ridge retrograding here, bringing the system into the Pacific Northwest. Arctic air starts to spill out off the continent here, and this will eventually bring a system as we go on in through Tuesday into Wednesday here, down through the state. Here's a lot of cold air spilling off the coastline here. We're going to have cyclogenesis, big mountain snowfalls here, strong winds, big waves all the way down the state here as we go on in through next week. So you can kind of see this hanging on for a while. We're now into next weekend here, and we've got the continuation here of some mountain snowfall on through the 10-day period. So mainly we're expecting this to start as we go on in through about the Tuesday to Wednesday time frame here, and then it's going to last for a few days here. As you can see, this storm just kind of hanging out on the coastline here, bringing this cold air and feeding it back down into the state of California here. Big mountain snows possibly all the way down through some of the higher elevations in Southern California as well. Nice precipitation amounts as well with this system, although it is not a huge drenching atmospheric river that we are looking at this point. Now, take a look at the temperatures here. This is last night's European run also, and you can say the diurnal and nocturnal cycle here going on, the warm up and the cool down overnight. And then as we go on into next week, I'll show you that here in a moment. Here we go, Sunday. There's Monday. As we get into Tuesday, you can see some of the colder air drop down out of the north here across the state here and really cool down the state here as we go on in through next week. You can clearly see it in this pattern change here. Pretty chilly temperatures across the higher terrain, big mountain snows incoming, folks. So big pattern change on the way here for California here coming up on in through next week. This is total precipitation in inches. Yesterday afternoon's European run. Check out that tease of a system kind of stays off the coastline there over the next few days and through the weekend, but then things are going to change as we go through next week. You can see that system arrive here, really start to dump some heavy precipitation across the Sierras in the form of snow, Northern California, coastal range, all the way down through Southern California. Big precipitation amounts incoming here, and hopefully nice snow amounts for the higher terrain. You can see some bigger precipitation amounts across some of the Central California coastline there as well. Now taking a little bit closer of a look here, we'll play this through one more time. There goes the system rolling down the coastline. We're looking just at the state of California here now, and you can see the system really just kind of barrel down into the state here. Strong northwesterly flow, very cold air, really going to line up with the Sierras nicely here as we go on in through next week, bringing some big mountain snows, multiple rounds of it there. So just had to show you guys that again. Now this is like at wind speed 100 meter here. We're going to fly through this all the way into next week, and then you'll clearly see the arrival of that system coming here. There we go. Bring those big winds down in here, all the way down the coastline here. It's going to bring some wave activity with it as well. We'll look at that here in a moment also. But yeah, nice prolonged period of storminess here across the state of California on in through mid and later next week is incoming here. This is total snow-Kuchera ratio in inches. And we're looking at, again, yesterday afternoon's European map here. As you can tell, I love the European model, but we're just going to let this roll out towards the 10-day period here and look at some of the huge amounts coming for the Sierras, even big amounts all the way down through some of the California mountains here. If you believe this latest run as of last night, the European big amounts across some of the Siskiyous as well, the coastal range possible also. And you'll probably see on social media some of the models talking about some lower elevation snowfall here across the Central Valley here and even out towards the Bay Area. Take that with a grain of salt right now. That is very difficult to accomplish here. It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely at this point, even though the models are pointing to it a little bit here. And I'll show you a little bit more on that here in a moment. This is Los Angeles. You can clearly see the arrival of these colder systems as we go on in through next week here. Now, this is San Francisco. So if you start to see this, take this with a grain of salt. Be skeptical, because you can see the control run actually calling for 2 inches at San Francisco here as you go on in through next Friday morning here. But again, this is going to be very difficult to accomplish here and probably is not going to happen. But some of the higher elevations could get some snowfall, especially above 1,000 feet here. But we will watch this as we go. It's not impossible, but it's just highly unlikely at this point. This is Truckee Tahoe Airport, and you can see, as you saw on the other European map, there big snowfall potential coming for the higher terrain here across the state of California. This is is Ukiah here. Precipitation pretty good coming in here, even though this is not a huge drenching atmospheric river. There could be some flooding concerns with this as we go, just depending on how much rain any certain area gets, of course. This is Los Angeles. Even some nice rain coming all the way down through the Los Angeles metro possible as we go on in through next Thursday night, might probably into Friday with the arrival of that system down there. This is San Francisco. Nice precipitation amounts as well. Looks like the mean and the control, pretty good agreement here, about 1.5 inches towards 2 inches possible as we go through the 10-day plus period there. This is San Francisco. Big winds possible as well. Look at these wind speeds showing up here as we go on in through Tuesday into Wednesday here. Some gusts over 50 miles per hour starting to show up here on some of these European ensemble runs here, and the mean is now into the 40s here. Control is at 42 miles per hour. So we got to watch for those winds, especially across the higher terrain and even some of the lower elevation areas. This is San Diego International here. Look at that. The mean is up over 1 inch there. The control towards 1 inch as well. So pretty good rains coming all the way down through Southern California with this system as we go on in through early March. Now this is looking at total wave swell height here. And we'll speed ahead here, and you'll clearly see this system kind of march down the coastline. Here we go on into Tuesday. Here comes that cold air spilling off the continent and just wrapping back out into California here. And you can see we're going to have some pretty good wave action going on here as we go on in through mid and later next week. So heads up for that as well. Things are going to get active along the coastlines again and the beaches here. So heads up for that. But this is also something I wanted to point out too. Lightning flash density potential. We're going to speed ahead towards next week, and you'll see that there is some thunderstorm threats coming up here as well as we go on into next week also. So pretty dynamic systems rolling in here to California. We'll be watching this day by day and try to see how this trends, if this trends a little bit stronger or whatnot, if it backs off a little bit here. But it does look like an active period is on the way for the state of California here. So I will start covering California again here over the next few days, and we'll see how this all trends here. So hopefully cross your fingers, keep building up that snowpack there, maybe pump up these reservoirs again and maybe bring some snow to the Intermountain West here as well across Colorado. You guys know that that plays into Southern California's water quality there as well. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Click like, subscribe, tell your friends. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.